Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a great week. So Christmas is nearly here, guys. It is very, very close. It hits us next week, and I'm here today with my last video, which is aimed at giving you a little bit of support this holiday season. So like me, many of you have already or are thinking of buying games for friends and family and are wondering which games are good to get this holiday season. So in today's video, we're going to actually talk about 5 best exclusives to actually buy on the Nintendo Switch this holiday season. So if you own a Nintendo Switch, these are some titles that are definitely worth you picking up, maybe with your Christmas money, or if you know someone that has a Switch and you're not sure what to get them for Christmas, then these picks would make great gifts this holiday season. So these are not in any particular order. So number 1 is not the best, number 5 is not the least. That's not the way I'm doing things in this video, but here are 5 titles that I think would be excellent purchases on the Nintendo Switch. So one of the games I would highly recommend on the Nintendo Switch is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I actually consider this game to be one of the best fighting games available on the Switch, or just available out there at the moment. It is a fantastic crossover fighting game. It actually came out in December last year, so December 2018, and it is of course a crossover between Bandai Namco and Nintendo, so there are some certain key loved characters across both franchises. It is actually the 5th installment in the Super Smash Bros. Series, and this of course is helmed by Masahiro Sakurai, who is just a legend and is amazing, but it is actually the biggest Super Smash Bros. Game to date. It is absolutely huge in scale, in scope. It has every playable character from all of the previous Smash Brothers titles, which is an pretty impressive feat. There are actually 80 playable characters in this game, and on top of that we then were given DLC content which you can purchase, which will give you unlock certain characters and certain skins, certain maps, soundtracks, and there's just so much content in this game. There is of course a single player side to the game as well, which is called the World of Light, but the main reason to buy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is just for the fun that you can have with your friends. You can play this fighting game online, but you can also play it couch co-op with up to 8 people on the screen at any given time. So it's a fantastic game to buy this Christmas if you really want to sit down with your friends and family and just enjoy a really good versus fighting game. You can actually complete the single player portion of the game in about 34 hours. So it does offer quite a good chunk of single player experience, but you could just put hundreds of hours into this game if you played it with friends. In terms of age rating, it is rated E for everyone in America through ESRB, and in Europe through PEGI it is rated 12+. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It is an excellent title to pick up this holiday season. If you love Pokemon, then I think you're going to really enjoy it, but it's also a really good game for newcomers to the series. So Pokemon Sword and Shield is actually set in an entirely new region called the Galar region, and the Galar region is heavily based on Great Britain. So for me, it was really cool to play it because there are lots of little Easter eggs, there are lots of little references, even the writing and the dialects, the different dialects and slang. A lot of it you will get if you are from Great Britain and you are British like me, and I really enjoyed it. But it's actually the first Pokemon game that I've actually played all the way through. I've dabbled at Pokemon games before, but nothing's really grabbed my attention, but I actually really enjoyed my experience playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I would highly recommend it to fans of the Pokemon series, or just people that are generally interested and want to pick it up and play a Pokemon game. So it does introduce some new things in Pokemon Sword and Shield. There are actually 81 new Pokemon available and 13 regional variants of currently existing Pokemon. And I've got to say that the designs and some of the new Pokemon are really nice. They're really fun. I really enjoyed the 3 starters that you had. I actually chose Scorbunny, but I loved all 3 starters, and it was really cool to sort of see how they evolve as well and what their final forms are. It also introduced a new system called Dynamaxing, which is where your Pokemon can sort of grow large, huge kind of raids as well as part of that. And these Dynamax Pokemon obviously are huge in scale, but also grow in power and have some pretty cool sort of main moves as well, which is really awesome. Then there was a new open world dynamic, which is called the wild area, that you could freely explore around, and this had dynamic weather. Later on in the game, as you finish the story, there's also dynamic day and night, which you can choose, and of course you can catch lots of Pokemon in the wild. There was a lot of criticism of the game because there were some Pokemon that were not in this title, a lot of Pokemon that didn't make the final cut or were sort of pulled from the game, but I think that's just to make way for the new additions, and the new Pokemon are really good. You know, they're really cool. You can actually catch, I think, 400 Pokemon in the Pokédex, but yeah, I definitely highly recommend Pokemon Sword and Shield. It was a really good title. You can actually beat the main story campaign in roughly about 40 hours, but you could just put hundreds of hours into this game just by trying to catch the different Pokemon in the world, and yeah, just doing raids in the open world. I actually really enjoyed them. I thought there was really good kind of multiplayer dynamic to it, of being able to go in and invite your friends into these raid battles, and that's obviously been lifted straight out of Pokemon Go, and it was really kind of cool to see it. The game has also done very well. It actually sold about 6 million units worldwide in its opening weekend, I think, which is pretty impressive, but yeah, highly recommended. In terms of age rating, it is rated E for everyone in America through the ESRB, and in Europe with Peggy it is rated 7+. But yeah, definitely recommend Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it would absolutely be worth a buy this holiday season. The next game I want to talk about is Fire Emblem Three Houses. This came out in July this year, 2019. There's been a lot of really good releases this year. Fire Emblem Three Houses was definitely one of them. It is a tactical RPG developed by Intelligent Systems and Koei Tecmo. It is a fantastic game. I actually have never played any of the Fire Emblem series before, so I'm kind of a noob when it comes to Fire Emblem, but this game hooked me in. I got completely addicted to this game. I have put a lot of hours into the game, and I really enjoyed my experience playing it. It is set in a new location, so it's actually set in the continent of Fodlan, which is actually divided into 3 rival nations. They are at peace in the beginning of the game when you're playing it, and you actually end up playing as a former mercenary who becomes a professor at a school called Garrett Marked Monastery, and it's very kind of inspired sort of a little bit by Harry Potter. So you choose, there are different houses that you can side with in Garrett Marked, and they're basically the leaders of the different nations, or future leaders of the different nations, but you actually choose one of the houses to be head of, to lead, and it's just really cool. The characters in Fire Emblem Three Houses are so interesting. They're so multifaceted. They all have different relationships and interact with each other. You also, as their professor, will build up relationships with them as well. There's a lot of micromanaging in this game, and I was really interested and surprised by just how much I actually enjoyed all the micromanagement. So of course there's great combat, and I will get to that, but the way the game plays is really interesting. It's kind of got elements of Persona 5 in it, wherein you have like a timetable or a calendar month that you play through, and at the end of each calendar month there's a really big sort of story development, and a huge battles that you fight in, and big story plots, twists and things like that. But throughout the month you're actually in the school, and you choose how to spend your time. So whether you want to spend your time leveling up your different students and making them more powerful and stronger and helping them improve, whether you actually want to spend some time exploring around the monastery and speaking to people about events and how they felt about that and how they've interacted with that, whether you want to spend a little bit of time yourself leveling yourself up. There is so much to do in this game, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed every element of this game. It was really fun. And then on top of that, there's some great combat. The tactical combat in this game is really accessible. So if you've never played sort of a tactical role-playing game before, and a turn-based tactical role-playing game, I think Fire Emblem Three Houses would be a good one to start with. I really enjoyed it. I really did. And then of course it's got a great story, some brilliant twists in the story too, really good characters. It's a great game all around, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the best RPGs that actually came out in 2019 for me, and that is why it is on my list. The next game on my list is Mario Odyssey. This game had to be on here, of course. This obviously came out in October 2017, so it's been a couple of years since the game was released, but I still consider it to be one of the, if not the, best 3D platforming games on the Nintendo Switch, period. It follows the story of Mario and Cappy, and they journey across various worlds. And so like any Mario game, you're trying to save Princess Peach, who has been kidnapped by Bowser. But in this case, Bowser has actually kidnapped Peach because he wants to forcibly marry her. Yeah, there's like a lawsuit waiting to happen there, totally. But it's that kind of premise. But what's really great about it is just the design of the game and the introduction of Cappy as well. And the gameplay loop in this is fantastic. So this is a much more open world sandbox kind of Mario title. It has a lot less linear campaign. As you get to particular maps and particular areas, you can freely explore them, and you actually gain what are called power moons, and you use these to power the Odyssey. So it really does encourage exploration. But what's really cool is the introduction of Cappy. So Cappy is a sentient heart that you meet at the beginning of the game, and you basically use Cappy to take control of other characters in the game, so enemies, and they will give you access to different abilities and different things, and it really opens up, you know, the puzzle solving side of things and the platforming element of it too. It's got a fantastic soundtrack. The different worlds are so stunning, visually stunning, really different, really colourful, and it's just, yeah, it's a fabulous game. And then it's got some great boss battles to add to that. So it's really good game. You can actually beat the main story in about 26 hours, so it's got a pretty good length. And in terms of age rating, it is rated E for everyone in America through the ESRB, and 7+ in Europe through PEGI. But Mario Odyssey, I mean, if you have a Nintendo Switch and you haven't played Mario Odyssey, you absolutely need to get on that, because it's a fantastic game, and it really revitalized the Mario franchise. For me, the Mario franchise had kind of got a little bit dull, a little bit stale, and was, you know, doing the same thing every year and was always kind of playing it safe. Well, Mario Odyssey is the first time that they tried something really new, and it was very successful, and it's a fabulous game, so I highly recommend it. And of course, the last title that is on my list that I highly recommend for anyone to buy this holiday season is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I actually consider this to be the best game on the Nintendo Switch, and there's a lot of very good games on the Switch, but this came out back in March 2017. It's been a couple of years since this game came out, but it still stands the test of time, and it is a fabulous action adventure. It's got platforming elements, it's got open world exploration elements, it's got great combat, it's visually stunning, the music is amazing, it's just everything, you know. It really did take the Zelda franchise in a new open world kind of direction, and it's so ambitious as a project, and it's just phenomenal. It is a masterpiece. That is what it is, and that's why it won Game of the Year in 2017, because it's just, every element of it is just so perfectly crafted, and it's just amazing. What's really cool is you can attack the story in a non-linear fashion, so you can choose to go to different areas of the map and play through the game how you want to. You can even rush right to the end if you want to, although it's really difficult. But what's really cool is the open world exploration and just how beautiful the world is. There's dynamic weather, there's different enemies that you can fight. The combat is just fantastic, it's fabulous. The introduction of these sort of weapons that degrade over time, that can break, really add a nice dynamic to the combat as well. It's got some great puzzle solving. You have shrines that you can explore, and they involve a lot of puzzle solving as part of that. And then you have your Sheikah Slate, and that has different abilities and different things that you can do too. It's just amazing. It is an absolutely amazing game, and for me, Ocarina of Time was always my favorite Zelda game, but actually Breath of the Wild is very close. It's very good, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the best titles on the Nintendo Switch, and it offers so much content and so many hours worth of gameplay. I think it actually takes you about 90 plus hours just to beat the story, and then there's so much more to do on top of that. So it's a huge, highly ambitious, beautifully crafted game, and yeah, it's well worth picking up. You will not be disappointed if you pick up The Legend of Zelda and play it. Of course, in terms of age rating, it's rated E for everyone in America through the ESRB, and 12 plus in Europe through PEGI. So there you have it, guys. There are my best 5 exclusives on the Nintendo Switch for you to buy this holiday season. This is the final video I'm going to do in this series, so I hope you guys have found this series useful, informative, interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know what you guys thought, obviously, in the comments section below. I will be back with more videos over the Christmas period, but obviously bear in mind it is Christmas, guys, and I do have plans with family. So I will try and bring those out around when I have a little bit of free time. But there are a couple of things I'm wanting to do this year. Definitely want to reflect on 2019, and I definitely want to talk about some of the games that I'm really looking forward to coming out in 2020. So definitely expect some content over the next sort of week or two, absolutely. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week, of course. I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. I hope you guys enjoy it and get some really awesome games this year. Anyway, hope you guys have a great week. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Merry Christmas, guys.